This is a quick rundown of version 2.2 of the door plugin, where I'm going to just do a quick little overview of the different features and all of that come with it, as well as just a general overview of the entire plugin. So what all has been changed since version 2? We have added a use door only on trigger. So for example, this door here does not have that checked, but it is set to be controlled by this switch here. But I can also control it normally. If I select use only door trigger, I can still control it with it, but I cannot access it using, well, just manually. So if you have a gate or something like that you would have, let's say, at the front of a house, this would be something that you would want to use and have it be controlled via a trigger. The other thing that I have is an auto close. Now the auto close does as it says. After a period of time passes, the door will close itself. Like so. So that was set to 5 seconds, and the door went ahead and shut itself down. Now those are the new features. As far as the other things go, we have the option for specific doors such as the static mesh rotating doors to be physics based. Like so. We have the option to disable the door until it's fully rotated, such as this. So if I spam E, it doesn't close until the door itself is actually closed. I mean, either opened fully or closed. So that prevents me from doing this. We have the option to open the door away from the player, meaning if I open it this way, it opens that way. Or if I'm from this direction, it always opens away from me. We have the option to uncheck that, and we can either have it set to open just clockwise or counterclockwise. So, and like so. Then obviously I've already went over these two features. You can change the time from which the door automatically will close with this little slider right here. It goes from 0 to 600, and this is in seconds. Then we have the option to use a door lock. So when we walk up to it and press T, currently nothing happens. If I set it to use the door lock, we can also start with the door locked. We have the option to lock the door. Cannot open it. And now I can. So that is something you can use to implement with your key system in the future, assuming that's something you end up having. We can control the rotation speed and the angle at which it rotates. So if I crank this up to let's do 140, it will open very widely, like so. Same thing goes for rotating door linear. That will change it from a smooth transition to a constant. So it rotates at a continuous speed instead of a fast speed and finishing slow. Next up, we have obviously the sounds that we want to have played. We have lock sounds, and the array here is just for randomization. So if you want random sounds to play every time you lock and unlock, this is where it would be. So that's it for the static mesh rotating door. We also have the static mesh sliding door, which has the same features aside from things such as the making it physics based, because obviously it slides, it doesn't rotate. Then we have the normal animation controlled rotating door, which has the same options, except it doesn't have code controlled options, such as here we can control the speed, the angle, and how we want it to open. This is controlled by whatever animation you're using. For example, that just plays a single animation. It opens the door handle, well, it rotates the door handle and stuff like that. It's just normal opening and closing. And you still have the option to open the door away from the player. So if you want to, you can set up a couple different animations. So we have an open clockwise, open counterclockwise, close clockwise, and close counterclockwise. And that all gets handled, accordingly, based off of what your options are right here. Same thing goes for the sliding door that is also controlled via animation. So this door, it's pretty much the same basic options. You have the opening and closing animations, locking, unlocking, same thing as always. And then we also have a new door that is the door simple. So if you just have a door that you just have an open and close animation for, like most of them, you would use the door simple. So we just have an open and a close animation, and everything else works the exact same. Like so. Now these doors also have events bound to them. So we have when the door state changes, such as right when you open or close the door, this gets triggered. When the door is finished rotating, such as it's fully open or it's fully closed, this gets fired, and this gets fired whenever we lock or unlock the door. And the exact same thing occurs on the sliding doors as well. This is for the rotating door. We have an event for the door trigger, which is this right here, which I'll show you here in a minute. That has an event that fires whenever it gets switched. So if it gets toggled to on, you have a boolean that passes the state. So if it's on, the on variable is going to be true. If it's off, the on variable is going to be false. So I just use this to trigger a sound when it plays. Now next, real quickly, as far as the static mesh door goes, this has two meshes. So if we open it up, we can see that we have the outer end is the entire mesh, it's the door frame itself. And then the inner portion, I'll just move it and you can see, here's the part that actually gets controlled. So we just have a basic door. And then it's for the door frame, which is the root portion, we have the entire door frame and this little, the still portion of the mesh there. So that way you can kind of incorporate it however you want to model it. That's really just up to you. Now the animation controlled sliding door is the same way, except it's one actual mesh. It's not multiple, and that's obviously what you would want there. All the physics assets and everything are set up. Now for the door trigger, we have a couple different options here. So we have the door control list, and this is just a bunch of different well, essentially just pointers to each door that we want to have controlled. So you can easily, if I delete all those, let's say I want to make it just for this door. What I'll do is I'll just click the little eyedropper and select that door, and now that one's the only one that gets controlled, like so. Alternatively, you can also just select it from the drop down. So I want to undo that and bring them all back, like so. We have our on and off animations, and same thing goes with the sound that you want to play whenever the door or the switch gets toggled. So let's see, one more new thing that was added just to the characters, and this is just more so a ease of use kind of thing. We now have an interaction distance. Someone had mentioned they were kind of wishing this would be adjustable just by default, even though they're not necessarily going to use this character for their game. But for just general use, we set this, well, you can increase this or decrease it depending on what you want. If you want to interact and test with it with a farther range, you would just increase this. So this is at 500 centimeters. You can change it to whatever you want. And same thing goes with the Blueprint version of the character, which is made purely in Blueprint. We have an interaction distance variable that is now being used. So that pretty much sums it up for this plugin. I hope you enjoy it. There will be a link to it in the marketplace if you want to check it out, and there's a support page for it if you have any questions or issues or anything like that in my Discord that is also linked below. Take care.